A warm welcome to Miss T.L.L. Tutti in the first additional language lessons here on YouTube. Continue to share the link, subscribe, and like the videos. Thank you so much for the positive feedback as well as continuing and continuous rather subscription. The family is indeed growing. We are now nearing to 10,000 subscribers, and for that I heartily thank you. Today we are going to look into linking words and what do we mean by linking words, or sometimes you can even call them logical connectors, which are going to help you not only in our writing but also in our communication skills when we want to link ideas together in English to convey meaning and to express meaning in such a way that whatever that you want to convey, whatever that you want to share, it's understood clearly. So we need to understand what is the function of a linking word, the different types of linking words or logical connectors. Logical connectors, in essence, I would say there are many definitions to for the phrase or for the terms, but I would simply say that it's a connector which link the semantical unit of a language. Logical connectors are used to join or connect two ideas that have a particular relationship. So that relationship, it might be a relationship that can be sequential, meaning that it shows time, like when you say firstly, secondly, thirdly. And then also you can all use logical connectors or linking words to show reason and purpose. You can show opposition or contrast. I'm going to unpack all of that and show you how to do that in both. Remember, I said these skills are going to, or this knowledge is going to assist you not only for writing purposes but also for communication purposes, so that you master that the language skill and English competence in as far as conveying meaning is concerned, and particularly when writing, especially your transactional text. There will be a need for you to link ideas together, and for you to do that successfully, indeed you are going to use linking words accordingly, or you can even call them logical connectors. And when you look at the word logical alone, so when you look at the word logical, I meant to say it means characterized by a clear sound or reasoning. So it means that here you are trying by all means that whatever that you are going to write or whatever that you are going to communicate is concise, is precise, it has a clear meaning. One is not left confused as to what is that you are trying to say. And also one of the advantages of using a linking words, if not logical correctors correctly, it is also to show coherence. Remember, when you write or when you speak, your ideas must flow together, right? I normally say, think of your writing piece as a river that flows smoothly, right? So therefore, it means that when you are using logical connectors, you are simply maintaining what we call coherence. It means that your ideas are not distorted. We are not lost when you're writing as to where are we now. You are jumping from one idea to the other. There's no logical arrangement of ideas. So for you to be in a position to arrange ideas accordingly, we are going to use the linking words, if not logical connectors. Let us look at some of the examples, and then at the end of the lesson, we are going to take two paragraphs that has logical connectors to see the definitions, if not to breathe life into this lesson and to see the practicality of using linking words, right? And then the first block that we have is the linking words that shows cause and effect. It means something that happens and then the result of that, right? So we call them cause and effect. And the examples therefore are: therefore, as a result, consequently, as a consequence, hence, thus, conclusively, in conclusion, and inevitably. Now, these are not only the examples, there are quite a number of examples, right? But remember, what we are interested in here is when you want to say something that happened, which is a cause, and then you want to link this that happened to what? To an effect, right? Let us make an example with a sentence, right? We have a sentence here: the poor parents could not support the baby, therefore, they sent him to an orphanage, right? Remember, you are trying to show cause and effect. The cause is that there's no parental support, and then the result is that therefore. So imagine if you say the poor parents could not support the baby, they sent him to an orphanage. It sounds as though the two sentences there's no cause and effect in the two sentences. In actual fact, the two sentences are of the same, I would say they echo the same um, attitude or sentiment or message as if they are two positive statements. They are not two positive statements, right? But once you introduce it, therefore, you are trying to show us what is the impact of of the first statement, to say what is the result therefore of the first statement, to say the poor parents could not support the baby, okay, and then what? Therefore, they sent him to an orphanage. So this become your logical connector, if not your linking word, to show cause and effect. Another quick example, you can say she missed her flight, and then consequently she had to reschedule her trip. So she missed her flight is a cause, and then the effect is that consequently she had to reschedule her trip. And then thus we can also use the word thus. For an example, the project faced delays, thus the deadline was extended. As a consequence, he neglected his health, and as a consequence he fell ill. So the linking words help the sentence to be more not only grammatically correct but also for clarity purposes. And those are not the only examples. We have so many of them here, but what is important is that you know that there are linking words that shows cause and effect. So in your writing, if you have a cause and an effect, you can use a logical connector. However, I need to emphasize this. It does not mean that when you write, each and every sentence must have a logical connector. Each and every sentence must have linking words. Now, you are going to complicate your writing unnecessarily. You need to be very economical when it comes to the use of linking words. You are only going to use them when needed and when appropriate, or when befitting, in such a way that it helps to maintain, if not to sustain and convey clear meaning in your writing or spoken communication. There are also linking words that shows comparisons. It means that when you compare, especially things that are the same or ideas that are the same, to also alleviate unnecessary redundancy when speaking or writing, where you can come across someone saying something repetitively without the use of linking words, especially like when you say likewise or similarly or in the same way. And let us look a bit deeper into these two unique words, like likewise as well as similarly. Now, when you look into the dictionary, you will note that the word likewise, similarly, likewise mostly is used to indicate agreement or similarity between two things, right? It is also used to introduce a statement that agrees with or support a previous statement. And the word similarly, used to compare two things that are alike in some way, used to introduce a statement that is similar to a previous statement, or alternatively, used to express that something is done in the same way or to the same degree as something else. And for an example, you can say during the interview, the candidate demonstrated excellent communication skills. Likewise, when presenting to a large audience, effective communication is important, right? Another one, when facing a difficult challenge, James always remained calm and collected. Likewise, in times of crisis, it is crucial to maintain composure. So what essentially likewise will be used is to compare two things that are two statements that are of the that share the same sentiments rather. So these are just examples of what you would use to link, if not connect, ideas that share the same ideas, if not echoes the same sentiments. Now we need to look into the contrast in expectations. We have words such as however, we have words such as nevertheless, yet, still, on the contrary, unfortunately, originally, ideally, apparently. Remember what I've said, these are just mere examples. We've got many other more out there. But here now, that's where now you want to show contrast in, not only contrast, but contrast in expectations, right? For an example, if you can say however, once you say however, I can say I am excited, right? I can say I am happy, right? Then I put a comma. Once I introduce this however, it changes the complexion of the first statement, right? Because I want to show you what contrast. Contrast, it means what? Difference. Contrast simply means, in simple English, it means difference. So once I include or introduce the linking word, if not the conjunction, however, it means that I'm going to now come up with a contrasting idea that contrasts or that is different from the first one. Mostly if this is positive, if the first statement is positive, then I use however. It means that the second statement automatically is going to be negative, right? In such a way that I want to show what contrast. I am happy, however, we can come up with a negative statement to say, I'm happy, however, I am still hesitant to go, right? So I am happy for the invitation to attend the event. However, I'm still hesitant to go. Once you say you are hesitant, it brings a negative connotation to, not connotation, pardon me, it brings a negative sentiment or a negative idea to what you are saying. So these are the logical connectors or linking words that shows what contrast and expectations, such as unfortunately. And then I want us to look into despite of, in spite of. What are the differences? When you look into this despite and in spite of, they are both prepositions. Remember, parts of speech, prepositions, meaning regardless of, right? Even though or notwithstanding. They can be used interchangeably. Despite is always written as one word. Never despite of, or in spite is always written in three words. So they actually mean one and the same, and then they can be used interchangeably, and they are what you call prepositions. Please look into the video where I did unpacked parts of speech just to refresh your memory and remind yourself what do you mean by prepositions. And then what is interested to note is also that despite of or in spite of, they always follow a noun or a pronoun. It can also be a pronoun. They can also follow a pronoun or a gerund. Let us look at an example. In spite of the pain in his leg, in spite of the pain in his leg, he completed the race. Now you look into the words in spite of, and then remember what precedes the article there. It's always a noun. So pain here is a what? Is a noun. In spite of the pain in his leg, he completed the race. And always, please don't forget the use of punctuation as well when writing, such as a comma. He completed the race. So that, remember, the punctuation also gives you time to also breathe. Not only to breathe, but also to demonstrate transition, because in spite of the pain in his leg. So remember, it means that the pain did not hold this individual captive. He managed to do what? He managed to complete the race. So the comma here will serve as a transition to show we are moving from a negative statement to a positive statement, that even though he had pain, he managed to win the race. So we use the word what? In spite, because remember here we are showing contrast and what? Expectation. Right, moving along, we also have logical connectors that shows contrast in comparison. Remember that those ones are not showing cause and effect, but contrast in comparison. The class of 2022 did exceptionally well. On the other hand, you see, on the other hand, it means you want to introduce another idea. Or in contrast, that's where you want to show a difference, and then conversely, again, you want to show what? You want to show difference. And then contrast in action, where you want to show emphasis, you can use the phrases, if not words, such as in fact, indeed, as a matter of fact, that is, essentially, interestingly, fortunately, and inevitably. Remember the word inevitably means something that cannot be avoided, that it's guaranteed that it will happen. So one cannot dodge that, cannot avoid that. And as example, the accident was the inevitable consequence or a result of carelessness, right? So something that cannot be avoided. Then if you want to show main reason, you can say primarily. It means the main cause or main reason, or you can say most importantly. And then the linking words that may show confirmation is typically, usually, traditionally, normally, naturally, or in accordance with. And then we still have more. For example, if you want to sustain your argument by providing additional information, you can use words such as moreover, besides, additionally. That's when you still want to explain further, right? And then without sounding like you're repeating yourself, but you still want to substantiate your ideas. That's when you can use these logical connectors to show what or to add more information to what you are saying. And then a continuation of explanation you can use in this context, in this connection, in this respect, in this perspective, and then here, and then condition, in this case, otherwise, now and there. Now let us look into an example using a paragraph on how linking words can be used successfully to convey meaning. And I'm going to use an argumentative essay here as an example. Proponents of this idea state that, pardon me, it will save local cities and towns money because libraries are expensive to maintain. They also believe it will encourage more people to read because they won't have to travel to a library to get a book. They can simply click on what they want to read and read it from wherever they are. Furthermore, right now, from what you have learned in the examples that you have been using, is that depending on the nature of the conversation, depending on the nature of what is that you are writing about, you would then know that you have different linking words for different contexts or for different purposes, like the ones that you want to show contrast, the ones that you want to show that you are adding more information, the ones that shows cause and effect. So before you can use logical connectors, I would advise that you study them. So as in when you use them, you understand thoroughly their purpose, so that you don't find them yourself using them haphazardly without them assisting to make your sentences to be more clear. Now, this is an argumentative essay. Somebody is arguing for the use of library. They can also click on what they want to read and read it from wherever they are. Now it says what? Furthermore. This is a linking word or a logical connector that shows that the ideas are still continuing in this essay. They could also access more materials because libraries won't have to buy physical copies of books. They can simply rent out as many digital copies as they need, right? Now, you see, you have a chunky paragraph and only one logical connector. It does not mean now just because you have learned about logical connectors, each and everything that you say must have a logical connectors. You need to be smart and very strategic as to how you're going to use them. You are only going to use them when the need arises, especially when you explain. And let me tell you, this is what is going to, how logical connectors also help so that your essays or your whatever transactional piece you are writing doesn't sound redundant. We have they, pronoun they. We have pronoun they. We also have pronoun they. Now you can imagine if I were to start a sentence with Lerado. Lerado is a smart girl. Lerado if every time when I have to start the sentence, I always say rattle, 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 it sounds very much grammatically incorrect as well as redundant. So also it also assists the repetition of a subject such as they. When you say now furthermore, for the fact that you are still using they, but you had a connector before they, it assists so that these sentences don't sound redundant when now you have to repetitively say the word, use the pronoun they. Now, from the first idea, they say proponents of this idea said it will local cities and towns money because libraries are expensive to maintain. The argument is that we can use maybe digital reading or instead of going to a physical library because our libraries are expensive to maintain. That this it's essentially what is echoed in the first paragraph. Now you look into the second paragraph. It starts with what? However. Now remember the logical connectors that shows what? That shows contrast. It means whatever that you are going to present here in paragraph 2 contradicts what's in paragraph 1. So you introduced a very sensible and appropriate logical connector using the however. However, comma, I've said that punctuation is important. Please, whatever that you do, especially when it comes to writing, please be observant and be mindful of punctuation. Punctuation actually has a very great impact in sentences and how sentences should be written. Right. Now let us see where the contrast is. However, it will be a serious mistake to replace libraries with tablets, which is a contrast of what was said in the first paragraph. Remember the first paragraph, it says libraries can be difficult to maintain. But then it says that it will be a serious mistake to replace libraries with what? With tablets, which is a contrast of what was echoed in the first paragraph. Hence the use of the logical connector, however, to show what? Contrast. First, digital books and resources are associated with less learning and more problems than print resources. A study done on tablet versus books reading found that people read 20 to 30% slower on tablets, retain 20% less information, and understand 10% less of what they read compared to people who read the same information in print, right? These are the argument as to why we must not get rid or do away with libraries. And then because this individual had more ideas, had more substantiation to these arguments, they now introduce what? A logical connector that is used to do what? To ensure if that or to reflect that the ideas are still what? Continuing. To say additionally, comma, this is a logical connector, staring too long at a screen has been shown to cause numerous health problems, including blurred vision, dizziness, dry eyes, headaches, and eye strain, at much higher instances than reading print does. People who use tablets and mobile devices excessively also have a higher incidence of more serious health issues such as fibromyalgia, shoulder and back pain, carpal tunnel syndrome, and muscle strain. Now, you still want to substantiate further. It says now, secondly, remember, it says additionally, coming up with an argument, and then now it says what? Secondly, it is still a linking word, if not a logical connector that reflects more to time. To say, firstly, this is what I did. Secondly, this is what I did. And thirdly, and finally, this is what I did. So you can also use that. Remember, this also it's to show coherence so that the ideas flow in your writing piece. Secondly, it is incredibly narrow-minded to assume that the only service libraries offer is books lending. Libraries have multitude of benefits, and many are only available if the library has a physical location. Some of these benefits include acting as a quiet study space, giving people a way to converse with their neighbors, holding classes on a variety of topics, and keeping the community connected. One neighborhood found that after a local library instituted community events such as playtimes for toddlers and parents, job fairs for teenagers, and meeting spaces for senior citizens, over a third of residents reported feeling more connected to the community. And then again, to sum it up, because you still want to convey this a sentence that shares the same sentiment as the argument stated prior, use another logical connector or linking word. Similarly, a Pew survey conducted in 2015 found that nearly two-thirds of American adults feel that closing their local library would have a major impact on their community. Now, it was an argumentative essay against the use of um, tablets and digital devices to read in comparison to having a physical library. Look at how flawless these ideas are presented simply because they have used what we call logical, if not linking, connecting ideas. And again, look at how chunky is this paragraph, and only two logical connectors are used. It does not mean now that you have learned about connecting words, each and every sentence will have a linking word. Don't abuse the use of linking words. So I believe from this lesson, you'll be able now to write appropriately. You'll know the different purposes and functions of various logical, if not linking connectors. Thank you once more. Don't forget to like the video, to share the link, and of course to subscribe. Until we meet again. Thank you.